In 2014, a trio of teenage burglars in St. Peters, Missouri, stumbled upon a box filled with a mysterious white powder. Thinking it was cocaine, what else could it be, right? They happily took it, together with prescription meds, cash, jewelry, and an Xbox. During their getaway, in the car, they decided to taste the white powder, and only then realized their mistake. What was the mistake? Well, that box actually contained the ashes of the homeowner's father. Oh my god. Not happy with the finding, instead of just leaving it or something, they threw it away from the car window and scattered the ashes all over the world. Now, for the twist, the owner of the house, Deborah Matthews, said that two of the minors were actually grandsons of the man whose ashes they stole and tasted it. Oh my god, that's just so stupid. Fortunately, they got caught after the police tracked the IP address of the Xbox they stole. That's some real dumb kids. In 2017, Tarion Pouncey allegedly held two employees of a hot dog stand at gunpoint in the Southside neighborhood in Chicago. Despite his love for hot dogs, on that particular day he actually just wanted some cash. But as he didn't see cash in the menu, he thought that, allegedly, putting a gun to one of the employees' head would help. Oh god. Well, it did. But the employee, the one at gunpoint, was holding a bucket filled with grease and asked the other employee to get cash on the register. As they handed the cash and their wallets over, the bucket of grease spilled and the money went flying. So, what did our criminal do? Of course, try to grab as much cash as possible before running away. But that's hard to do with one hand, right? So he cleverly put the gun in his waistband and began to run. And as he ran, obviously, the gun accidentally went off and shot him in the penis.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
He still managed to run for a few moments and then called 911 to say he had been shot. Police arrested him at the hospital. But look at this, he was caught on the surveillance camera, and the police was able to match him with the footage because as he was committing the crime, he bent over to grab something and the CCTV captured his exposed underwear, and they could match the pattern of his blood-stained boxers to the one on the CCTV. Yep, that's some CSI for you. Now, these guys had his eyes on the prize for sure. Mohammed Hashan, a Taliban commander in Paktika province, was suspected of organizing at least 2 IED attacks on US and Afghan troops. So, Afghan security forces had the idea to make flyers with his picture and those wanted and reward stuff that we always see on TV, and circulate them in the areas where he was active at the time. Those wanted posters are rarely effective though. I mean, civilians won't pass information about terrorists, and the terrorists themselves are often hiding far from urban areas. I mean, they keep doing it, but they also know not to keep their hopes too high, But Hashan, let me tell you, this guy is special. He's a businessman, a man with vision. In 2012, upon seeing his face all over the place with an unbelievable cash prize, he had an idea. He could turn himself in and keep all the life-changing cash for himself. That's the easiest money ever. Come on, who never thought about that, huh? So he did what any reasonable terrorist would and should do. He calmly walked into a police station holding his own wanted poster and demanded the finder's fee. The officers proceeded to arrest him right away, but they still couldn't believe in what was happening. The Afghan security officers had to call the US forces in to verify who was that guy, because they didn't believe anyone could be that stupid. I love this dialogue. This is from the Washington Post. Quote, "We asked him, 'Is this you?' And he said, 'Yes, that's me. Can I get my award now?' My award? Oh my god. Should be the Darwin Award. Oh, are you curious to know how much money he would make? How much money could make even a Taliban commander turn himself in? Okay, sit down. The reward for his capture was a whopping $100. $100. Yeah, he would need to turn himself in 4 more times in order to buy a PlayStation. But that's like I always say, you have to spend time in jail to make money, I guess. In December of 2012, Darren Kimpton was trying to break into a house when, of course, he failed. But not before cutting himself on the door lock and leaving plenty of blood and evidence behind to make the job easier for the police. The thing is, Kimpton is not one to give up that easily, and being the smart cookie that he is, he proceeded to try again on a different house. While on the hunt, he noticed a house that had a window with the glass already broken, and having learned from his previous mistake, he knew that would make it way easier. So he approached the house and carefully stuck his hand through the broken window to try to let himself in, only to be met by police officers that were already inside of the house. Oh my god. You see, that house had already been burglarized earlier that night, and the police were on site interviewing the victim. So by the time he noticed the cops inside, it was too late to flee and he was easily apprehended. Even the judge couldn't believe it, and he said, quote, "You were not a very good burglar." Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. In 2017, this genius named Umar Misra had an idea that would make him some really good cash. He would rob a betting shop. He got all the necessary fake gun, gloves, face mask, no, not this one, yeah, this one, and a good old message on a piece of paper saying, "I've got a gun, open the door or I'll shoot you." Very intimidating and very effective because it actually worked. He managed to enter the safe and demanded to fill a carrier bag with about 17,000 pounds in cash. After getting the money, he proceeded to leave the place and also to remove the mask covering his face before leaving the shop, showing his face to the good old CCTV. God damn it. But you might say, well, it's not that easy to catch someone just because the CCTV recorded it, right? I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into finding the person, a lot of investigating, and so on and so on. To that, I say, you're in for a treat. The thing is, Umar had applied for a job at that same place not long before the robbery. He even left his CV with all his personal information there. It gets better. He also had a gambling problem, so a store manager also identified him as a customer who had called in the shop on a number of occasions. Needless to say, using the details on the CV, the police got to him pretty quickly and found everything still with him, the fake gun, the mask, the note, and so on. I mean, kudos to him for trying to get a job first at least, right? Okay, this is a short one, but I love it because it simply doesn't make any sense. So, in 2015, this Florida couple, John and Amber, were trespassing on a state college in Daytona. I don't know why, I don't know how. According to the couple, they were being chased and got themselves into a closet, like a janitor's closet or a cupboard or something like that. Nobody knows by whom they were being chased, but let's move on. So, this was on a Sunday, right? Now get this, on Tuesday, 2 days later, there's a 911 call. It's them, saying that they need help because they are locked in a closet. The police gets there by tracking the phone location, only to find not only both of them inside the closet, but also feces and some stuff used to smoke crack. Ugh. But see, the police were still trying to figure out how the two could have gotten locked in. So they decided to test it, and one of them got inside the closet and closed the door. The door did not lock. The door was unlocked this whole time. These two cookies stayed inside of an unlocked closet for 2 whole days. They were both charged with trespassing plus a probation violation for Amber. The police did not find any drugs with them, and I can't imagine why. In 2017, Keith Allen Schultz found himself on what police call the easiest arrest ever made. It wasn't even December, but somehow this guy got inspired by Santa Claus and tried to break into a house through the chimney. I think you can already see how bad of an idea this is, right? Anyway, he and his accomplice went forward with the plan, but that's when he got stuck in the chimney. His friends still tried to break in to help him, but that only triggered the home alarm, making things even worse for him. At that point, The police went to investigate the alarm call, and about the same time, a woman had called the police, saying her friend needed help getting out of a chimney. Oddly enough, both calls pointed to the same address. Incredible, isn't it? Well, because the police has something called common sense, they made the connection and called the firefighters to help extract the criminal mastermind, who got some hospital treatment and later arrested. Okay, we'll need our CSI hats for this one. In 2008, police were called to the Arlington Recreation Center in St. Paul, where they found out that a vending machine's glass had been broken with a chair. Most of the candy and the chips were missing from the machine, a true mystery. But then the police got a very lucky break. They looked down, and right there on the floor they saw some very mysterious particles. Some sort of an orange dust that, upon investigation and probably with the help of NASA and the FBI, it was determined to be a substance called Cheetos. Yeah, the floor was just full of Cheetos all over. All the police had to do was to follow the tray of Cheetos from the machine, around the side of the building, and to a nearby home. Inside of that home, they found, you guessed it, a lot of vending-sized bags of Cheetos and other snacks. Oh god. 3 very dumb teenagers were arrested. Man, the police is not playing around, huh? That's some clever investigation right there. Remember that movie Blank Check? Yeah, me neither, but this guy might remember it because that's exactly what he tried to do. In 2008, Charles Ray Fuller had the brilliant idea to show up at a bank with a check for $360 billion. Yeah, $billion. Do you even know how much is that? There's a lot of images on Google showing the scale of a million, billion, trillion, etc. There's also a cool video from the Corridor Crew that you can check later. It's pretty cool. But anyway, this odd request of $360 billion made the bank teller a bit suspicious. Probably because he was a couple dollars above the withdrawal limit. So they decided to call the person who had apparently given him that check. Surprisingly enough, it wasn't Jeff Bezos, but the mother of Fuller's girlfriend, who told them that he was not authorized to take or cash any checks. To make matters worse, when the police came and arrested him, they also found a gun and some weed on him. Oh my god. He was arrested and later released after posting bail of $3,700. He should have tried that number actually. A guy named Kevin Connolly woke up at about 4 a.m. to get ready for an early flight that he was supposed to catch. He soon realized that some of his things weren't where they were supposed to be, and while walking around, he came around the corner of a guest bedroom where he saw something that he couldn't believe. A man, a strange unknown man, was all comfy sleeping in his bed and wearing his jacket. He tried waking the guy up by turning on the lights and talking to him, but the only thing that worked was the police handcuffing him. That would definitely wake me up too. Turns out that he lived only 2 blocks away from there. When the police got to his place, all the stuff he stole was right there on his front porch. MacBook, iPad, guitar, and even the guy's dog's ashes. What the hell with people stealing ashes? To finish it off, he actually had the guts to say he was being framed. Framed? Like how? Oh my god.